Welcome to the Alkalign Lifestyle Institute for Quantum Healing. I'm your host and guide today, Fidelis Snuggle II, and today we'll be diving into how expressing anger towards another person affects their physiology and yours. Now, this is not just about words or about emotions. This topic today is about energy, biochemistry, and the powerful effect that we have on each other's bodies. And this is because of no separation. Yes, everything is connected through the quantum field that runs through you. Now stay with me to uncover how unprocessed anger disrupts your body and others at a cellular level, and what you can do to reverse this damage. All right, let's begin. So, have you ever felt drained, tense, or even physically ill after an argument? It's not a coincidence. That's science. Let me tell you what happens to people that are engaged in a battle of negative emotion. What literally happens to this person that's displaying and expressing this anger and then transferring this energy towards another being is, first off, they have the fight or flight response. And so this is when someone becomes angry, right? You already know that body's gonna trigger a fight or flight response. You've done it. Everyone's done it. Everyone's gotten angry as a child or as an adult. But what happens scientifically within their body, this leads to increased heart rate and blood pressure. Immediately, things start to dial up, releasing stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Yes, adrenaline may sound good whenever you're jumping off of a cliff or an airplane or something like that, but whenever it comes down to fighting, simple argument, you probably want to tone that down a little bit. And cortisol, already there's been multiple studies showing how cortisol negatively affects your body's physiology. Now, tension also occurs in your muscles, particularly in your jaw, your shoulders, and your fists. And you also have rapid breathing and sweating, and then you have a flushed or red face. Sharpened and focused mind. Now, all of this is because of the simple fight or flight response. So what's that occurring, or what's that saying, is immediately you're dialing up for a fight. This is your fight or flight response being dialed up immediately. But this has a long-term effect. See, it's chronic anger that causes a problem. Chronic anger and hostility can contribute to increased risk of hypertension, heart disease, stroke, and other health problems. You gotta get over it. Just let it go. Now, this is the person that is receiving this anger. What happens to them, even if someone is not directly experiencing the anger, meaning I'm just a child, maybe I'm a pet, maybe I'm just a bystander or a stranger in a restaurant or in a library or in a bookstore or somewhere in a public place. Being on the receiving end of someone else's anger can trigger a stress response in them. This is how your physiology changes through somebody else based upon the anger you're expressing out to the field. You have increased heart rate and blood pressure, meaning the person experiencing anger may also increase heart rate and blood pressure, as well as other physiological changes that match up with the transporter of the anger. You also have potential for cardiovascular issues. So research suggests that anger, especially when expressed chronically or intensely, can be a risk factor for cardiovascular problems. This is what damages the heart, mainly, I believe. It's anger. Now, what happens to the person that's expressing this anger? What are they going through? You're asking yourself and you're thinking, okay, so you got to figure out what's really going on, right? You're just asking yourself, what's really going on? Well, when we express anger, we trigger the release of these stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline in both ourselves and the person we're targeting. And we do it the hormones cause increased blood pressure, rapid heart rate, and inflammation, damaging the cells over time. But it's not just their body reacting. See, here we're going to get down into sound, frequency, and vibration. So emotions are frequencies. It's not just an emotional exchange. Here comes the energetic exchange. Emotions are frequencies. So when you project anger, you send a destructive vibration that can shift another's energy field and even their gene expression through epigenetics. Let me tell you why this happens. If you took two rocks, one pebble here, one pebble here, and threw it in a lake or in a stream or in a river, sitting water, it's going to have a shock to the water and then a ripple effect outwardly, whereas the point into another circle will start radiating outwardly. But if you have one rock here and then one rock here, it's two, and you throw both of them into the lake, they're going to coincide with each other. Therefore, you're looking at this person sending a destructive vibration, and it's just because of their lack of awareness as to, first of all, what their energy is doing. First of all, they're not cognizant of what their energy is doing, what their energy can do, and how they're misjudging and misperceiving. Basically, their perspective is off at what's going on. Everything happens in life for you, for your greater good. If you never took anything personally, you would have a direct step ladder to success in life. But many people make excuses. So when someone gives them actual constructive building, not criticism, but constructive feedback, whether it says you're 20 pounds overweight and somebody says, hey, 20 pounds overweight, you're a little bit too heavy, you're too fat, you can't make this team. Or, if you do make this team, you have to lose weight in order to play or perform, right? Or something like that. Someone will flip out about that whole exchange because they took it personally, because they felt in their heart that that wasn't the right thing, or they were right, and granted, you might be right. Granted, you might say, my 20 pounds overweight has nothing to do with me performing at a higher level or whatever, right? But all I'm saying is, if you never took anything personally, people would never have any reason to get upset. And so then, and I always claim this, and I'm still gonna continue to claim this, that many spouses are the ones that kill each other. It's not where this person dies of natural causes. I'm talking about literally energy. One spouse can kill the opposite spouse just because of resentment towards another. Whether it's jealousy, whether it's envy, whether it's hatred, whatever it is, you can affect someone else's physiology and you can hurt them, literally, with intention, meaning you really are doing this. So the field of epigenetics basically says you can turn your gene expression on and off. You can do this just because you understand that your thoughts create things. So your thoughts are things. And if you learn that your thoughts are things and you can shoot them out like laser beams and like bullets that can draw something back to you, or it can pierce another's energy field and damage them. You don't throw them out like darts. What you do is you actually, with intention, own your thought process. And you realize that nothing's separate. Whether or not you want to believe it or not, that's not how it works. And it's already been proven scientifically that we live in a holographic perspective. Meaning, we live in a holographic perspective of our own world. Everything is mirrored. So you have a mirror neuron process that goes off inside your brain. Anything that you do and that you express, a person on the outside can then mimic whatever it is that you're expressing outwardly. So some people may not even be angry. They might not even be upset. But if you walk into a room and it's five people already inside the room, you're the sixth. Those 5 people are already upset and angry and fighting. And you sit there for long enough, your physiology will change, and all of a sudden you will become the 6th person that's angry. That's why you see riots happen, and that's why you see bad things obviously happen at riots. That's why you see bad things happen at protests, because you have a pool full of energy, bad energy, negative energy, and everyone's minds are aligned to a same anger cause. So all of a sudden they're changing each other's physiology to match up with each other, just like a preference set. So your job is to avoid situations that can lower your vibrational status. You want to keep your vibration high. But say you're in a relationship. Like say this is like your spouse or your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. I've been in relationships like this, where I've slept next to people who hate me, and I had no idea that they actually hated my guts. Because what I was unaware of was, first of all, they hated their own guts. They hated themselves. Because they hated themselves, they can't love anybody else. So that was impossible. When someone's not respecting or admiring who they can be, meaning they don't have a level of control over their own attitude. This is the main thing, attitude. They're thinking that they're a victim in life. And this is where they project that victim mentality and the helplessness onto somebody else. This is where it gets dangerous. So there's a science of emotional transfer. In case y'all did not know this, let me explain how this thing works. You have two people, maybe even a group, but I'm focusing on relationships at this moment. Two people, two energy fields that can either shrink or expand based upon the love, admiration, affection, forgiveness, respect, I can say gratitude, just different high-level emotions. These change the energy fields of both of the parties, both the individuals. Why is this? This is because of the concept by Masaru Emoto talking about water, where he basically said he took the 3 jars experiment where he had 3 beakers of rice with water, and he spoke positivity, he spoke negativity, and he ignored. The one that he ignored began to rot. The one that he spoke positively began to ferment, and the one that he spoke negatively started to turn black. It just makes sense that if you express out to the field positive emotion from a positive perspective, all of a sudden you begin to affect and transfer energy in a positive way to someone else's water, to something else's water, because everything else is the same thing. So if you have pets and you wonder why your pets, maybe they're sick, maybe they're lethargic, maybe they're tired, look at your own energy. And you can see the same thing occurs based upon you, your perspective on how you work. It doesn't work. And so, unfortunately, based on the science of emotional transfer, what happens, and this is a proven concept, that it's called emotional contagion. And emotional contagion is where the process of mirror neurons is occurring in the person's brain. This is how someone else can mimic something else. So your pet is the divine, but because you're also the divine, you're just not aware that you're the divine. You're not expressing divinity out. Your pet is going to express what you express out. So if you express fear, your pet will express fear. If you express anger, your pet will express anger. Think about children. Same thing. Your children are going to be wired the way that you're wired because they have a direct connection to you, and they're in your field of space. This entire time, the majority of the time, they're in your field, or people around, like the caretakers, they're in their field of space. So in your first 7 years of existence, that's your main subconscious programming. If you're around people who are suppressed, you're around people who are angry, essentially, you're going to wake up as an adult and you're going to be a 7-year-old, angry, stressed, and upset, and helpless person because you never actually got the program of how to actually be free and be in control of your own emotions. This is where coherence comes in. So just because of emotional contagion, all of a sudden, you're unable to shift. You're unable to shift your perspective on things because you're just holding on to who you were. If you just allow the divine to give you a new program that you asked for. Most people ask for it. Hopefully you do ask for it. If you don't ask for it, you should ask for it. You should ask the divine to give you a brand new program. You should ask the divine to give you emotional control in the way of coherence. And what happens with that is you're able to regulate yourself. You're able to fine tune yourself. So how anger can shift another person's autonomic nervous system, where what happens to this person is they don't have the same level of breathing. They don't have the same level of coherence. They have now the suppression that you've been giving off based upon that anger, then it's adrenaline and it's cortisol, and now they have it. They have the stress and the anxiety that you've been expressing. You're putting it on to them. So if your pets, your animals are shaking, or your children are constantly fearful, it's literally just you. And if you don't actually acknowledge this as a person that is saying, not only saying, but not verbally expressing, but physically expressing and taking accountability for the attitude that you're presenting outwardly, then you're gonna have a problem. Because we're supposed to be living from the end. So if you always got whatever you wanted, wouldn't you be really happy and excited to show your creation? Wouldn't you be really excited and purposeful in expressing outwardly a positive mental attitude? Because success only comes from a positive mental attitude. It can't come from a negative mental attitude, because all you're gonna get is constant negativity. Because it's a mirror perspective in the world of emotional contagion and mirror neurons. You have to understand that your brain is only going to give to you what you've been projecting outwardly. So if I'm thinking in terms of abundance and freedom, I'm going to get experiences because I'm going to filter out the experiences of abundance and freedom. That's what my brain does for me, based upon my own instruction to my brain. I'm the one that's creating this, based on my own expression of gene expression, based on epigenetics. Epigenetics just means control above the genes, meaning I control them. So my thoughts are what change and affect my biology. So in this regard, if you're looking at a person that is expressing these cortisol and adrenaline and different hormones and increasing your heart rate and inflammation, it's going to damage your cells over time and create toxicity inside of the cells. Now you have a whole community of 50 trillion plus cells, mainly red blood cells, that are carrying oxygen to and from parts of your body. The first thing to go is the spirit, because the spirit is in the oxygen. So this is the science, because then if you're shifting the ANS nervous system, you're no longer in growth and repair. You're in fight or flight constantly. And that's because you've shifted someone else around you. You shifted their physiology just based upon your ignorance towards your own divinity. And now, studies show that even witnessing anger or hostility can spike cortisol levels in the observer. How many children do you know that watch their parents fight and argue? How many pets do you know that watch their owners and caretakers fight and argue? How many people, you watch these TV shows where people are expressing anger out, these reality shows, these families, or they call them families, and they say siblings and all these things and rivalries and this and that, but really, you're watching people literally express anger outwardly, and it's ridiculous. Why would you want to watch somebody else fighting? It's gonna have an effect on you, because that's what it does. It has an effect. So if you can look at it if you can avoid that, first off, where you're gonna just literally just avoid being able to see things that are bad and just bad news and just things that are incoherent with how life is supposed to work, right? If you can avoid seeing those things, if you can avoid even just experiencing them, think about it like secondhand smoking. It's like emotional toxicity, but it's secondhand toxicity. That's what witnessing anger or hostility in somebody else can do. So you should be afraid to be angry, because you don't understand what you have an effect on. You don't even understand how many people are going to be entangled in your mess, in your chaos inside your head, the walls within your house, inside your home. It's like a horror story because you created that horror story. Because you made those walls from within, you didn't make it a harmonious place of left hemisphere synchronization, right hemisphere synchronization. No, you made it a horrible place because you all of a sudden were saying, I lack control, and I'm mad because this isn't happening the way I want it to happen. You're only mad because life isn't happening the way that you want it. It's not supposed to happen the way that you want it. That's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to get what you asked for if you display the behavior that gets you the thing. If you don't display the behavior that gets you the thing, don't get mad that you didn't get the thing. You weren't the person that was supposed to get it. You were displaying the complete opposite. And all of a sudden you were angry that you weren't getting what came back to you, but you were getting what was coming back to you. You were angry, so you got things that made you angry. Why are you mad? Just a simple question you want to ask yourself. You're angry. So something made you angry. Why are you mad? Wasn't that the goal? People just don't want to ask themselves that because they don't want to look at themselves as the cause of their own effects. But they don't want to sit there and say that I'm the cause of my effects. Who caused your effects? You see, I used to be in relationships where my partners were angry. They were upset. Whether they be upset at me, whether they be upset at themselves, whatever it was. All I had to do was leave. All I had to do was make the decision to get up, to leave. Because I have that choice to make. The choice is mine to make. Many times I thought it would be more responsible of me if I stayed to see if I can work things out, to see if I can we can figure this out. But that's not always the case because I have to realize from the start, is it simply a match? Many people are in relationships that are not a match. They have a mentality where they're like an Olympic athlete and then their spouse, their partner is like a couch potato. What did you expect? You're an Olympic athlete and your partner is a couch potato. They don't even get up. They don't do anything that you like to do. On the contrary, they'd probably rather ignore what you like to do and do what they want to do. So if you're spending most of your time with this person and not aligned with your actual goals and your vision for how life is supposed to work, you're probably gonna run into some roadblocks at the end. And that's where you have to look at it and say, simple alignment. Don't make the other person the person at fault. Just make yourself the person at fault. Because you were supposed to choose something in alignment for you. And let me also tell you about partners I've had where you go out there, it's like a job interview, essentially. You pour everything out, you share all the information about yourself. And they say, I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Healthy lifestyle and all these good things. And they give you all the good stuff. And then lo and behold, somehow along the way, they stop doing it. Like their standard of living just drops and falls off. And you realize, oh no, that's not what I signed up for. Immediately when you see that the behavior is changing and it's not what you signed up for, what you do, you politely go to them and tell them, hey, I noticed this is what your behavior is being expressed outwardly, and I don't like that because that's not a match for me. So if you want to stay in this, we have to continue to evolve and accept each other for whom we are. But some things, people have standards. People have standards of eating. There's plant-based families. There's families that have vegan or vegetarian people and meat eaters. And I don't believe that's a current situation. I think that people who have different preferences are eventually going to disengage from relationship. Simply for the fact that one person's awareness is different than another person's awareness. That's why I say I believe you cannot be a person that has a different vision for how your life is supposed to be. So if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you have a freedom type of liberation and your creativity, because you use your creativity essentially to pay for your lifestyle. People who have a employee mindset are basically under someone else's creation, and they're being governed by something every single day. So they have a schedule of some kind. And all of a sudden, that schedule is going to be in conflict for the person who has a freedom mentality. So I believe that that's where certain sparks fly up, and then you start to see anger being expressed between these two individuals. It's not that, one person's right or wrong. It's just that they're not right for each other. And so when you see this, where couples or relationships or friendships even, where you have anger being expressed out, the secondhand toxicity, the emotional toxicity that's being expressed and being caught by everybody else is so, I'll say, powerful to change the physiology of the people around you, that's how you go to an office and you see people have lower performance sitting around somebody who's like a bad apple. That's why you have teams with like cancerous players on their team, because they're so ungrateful, or they have so much anger or hatred towards life that has an effect inside the locker room. You have to think about it in that regard. If you don't think about it in that regard, then you're not going to be a really good leader, because you'll allow cancerous things to affect the camaraderie and the chemistry between the rest of your team. So, heart rate variability, cortisol elevation during conflict, this goes up. And this is where you start to see the inflammation, the soreness. You start to get dizzy. You start to have, like fatigue. I slept next to partners who just hated my guts. Had no idea about energy at the time, where I could feel it subtly, but I didn't understand just in terms of how not disconnected I actually am. I am connected, so I can feel everything around me. And I'm thinking, all right, look, I'm not a miserable person, so I'm wondering why I'm mirroring this. If somebody was really kind and happy and in a forgiving place and in a just happiness place, let me express how to serve in that sort of way. You would actually mirror that in that person. So unfortunately, many people wait until the other person goes to put that out. Or people take where they say the expression of love that you're showing isn't the expression of love that I'm used to. And because I wouldn't express love like that, that's not love. But that's not true. It's based upon intent. So also you begin to look at, you just raise someone's heart rate. Now they're racing through life. Now all of a sudden your heart's beating faster, pupils dilating, and you're not breathing the same. That's an automatic thing. An ANS system, autonomic nervous system thing that occurs is breathing. And if you're not breathing properly, you're no longer spiritual. You now disconnect yourself from the spirit. So there's light emissions from our cells. This is basically biophotons. This is how you see somebody. This is the aura, the color of the aura that you give off. Children can see it very easily. Why? Because children are superheroes when they first come into existence. And the reason is they just came from connection with the divine. They haven't really been altered yet in that regard, because they haven't fully been programmed yet all 7 years of their existence. Say they're like 1, 2, 3 years old. They have so much energy. This is like a child that's 2 years old. They just have a maximum amount of energy. So parents don't have a maximum amount of energy, and they can't keep up because they're sluggish and they're slow, and they've been beaten down by their own stress and misperception. And the child just got here and is just trying to figure things out. And so all of a sudden, everything that it sees based on light emissions is colorful. They'll see a dog that's blue. They'll see a cat that's purple. They'll see elephant that's yellow. They'll see all types of things. And you're wondering why. It's because they can see these radiant energy fields, these aura fields around these people and places and things. And the light emissions that are coming from them even begin to change. if they're being influenced by your negative emotional state. It begins to shrink. So, cellularly, this is where this becomes a problem, because this is where the whole concept of cellular detoxification comes through. You have to figure out that if you're going through life with bad negative emotions, you can have shame, you can have guilt, you can have anger. All of these are destructive. Anger, I believe, is the worst because it heats everything up inside of you. Shame, guilt, judgment, or jealousy, envy. These things that are basically the opposite of love, because you don't hate nobody. So people can say hate all they want, but it's not hate. You don't hate just because you hate. You just hate because you are not loved. That's why you say, I hate this. But it's not that you're not loved by someone on the outside. It's that you aren't loved by someone on the inside, which is yourself. So because you don't love yourself the way you're supposed to love yourself, you say, I hate this. I hate going here. I hate being here. I hate watching this. I hate eating this. I hate listening to that. I hate reading this. You hate everything because you don't love yourself while you're doing it. You don't love yourself while you're walking to the bus stop. You don't love yourself while you're walking to the library. You don't love yourself while you're walking into work. You don't love yourself while you're walking home to see your family. You just don't love yourself. And because you don't love yourself, all of a sudden you're taking out that, I would say, misperception, that disbelief, that skewed perspective of how love's supposed to be. You're taking it out on everybody in terms of anger. Now you're mad because you act like you don't have any control. But you do have control. You always got control over what you're putting out. You always do. So here's the spiritual and energetic perspective. Let's look at it from terms of chakras, right? You have your root. You have your sacral, reproductive, digestive. Then you have your solar plexus, your gut. One of the most important, if not the most important, because it's part of the enteric nervous system that controls how you feel. This is basically, from a energetic perspective, anger blocks the solar plexus. The solar plexus chakra, the gut, the center of personal power and confidence. What does it do? It stops you from digesting your food. Eat at a table with somebody who's angry, and I guarantee you'll have the worst meal that you've had that day or in a long time. Because what happens to your physiology is all of a sudden your system begins to shut down, and you can't digest your food while you eat, because you're sitting next to somebody who's stopping the energy flow of energy from your solar plexus. So all 12 cranial nerves of your body are being negatively affected by this person and their negative mental attitude. Not only the plexus and the gut, the anger also distorts your heart's electromagnetic field, which extends many feet around your body. This disruption can affect others in your environment, especially those sensitive to energy. I'm just telling you from experience. I've felt it. So when I see people who say they strangers, and I can tell that they're in a bad mood or they're in a bad way, and they come and they sit next to me, I get up and I go somewhere else and I sit somewhere else, because I understand that that person is going to affect my physiology. I have to get away from them. That's just how I protect my energy. It's not rude. On the contrary, it's actually very intentional, and it's actually very loving of yourself to not be entangled with destructive interference. You want to go towards constructive interference. Everyone's heard of the concept of energy vampire. You just don't believe that you are an energy vampire if you're the person with the bad attitude, or people with bad attitudes can affect you in terms of draining your energy. And that's why when people affect you in terms of draining your energy, you don't understand why it is that you can't do what you do the right way. You can't understand why you can't say I have a friend, he's a trader. He's awesome. When he's focused and aligned, he can get you 100,000 in a couple of days time, probably in a day's time. I think he run off that in like a couple of days. Actually, he's done that. But when he's not in alignment, he has some trouble, man. He's got some trouble listening to himself, because it blocks your intuition. It blocks your intentionality. You don't actually function properly. So now, instead of being able to do the things that you can do, this blockage that's affecting your cells and your structure and your heart and your field and your gut It's just stopping you from making better choices. So now he has a plan. He has a protocol. He has a structure for how he does things. He has all of these things that work in his favor, but he can't even figure out how to do it because his brain's not working right. Because think about it, like you're in a library in a quiet space, and all of a sudden the fire truck comes and it's playing the siren, and it's banging the siren. A police come and they doing like a high-speed chase right next to you, and or someone's coming and they got heavy metal rock music playing, and it's all up inside your earphones. You're trying to read a book. That's how destructive interference affects your physiology. It basically screws up your water. Your water is supposed to be coherent. Your water is supposed to be just clear, transparent, calm. If they put it under a microscope, it would have beautiful cymatic patterns based upon the sounds of your cells. That's sonocytology and cymatics. But if you don't have interference patterns that are constructive, all of a sudden, what happens to the water inside your body is it starts to get disoriented. And all of a sudden, it's like playing static or scratching a chalkboard. You don't have any more coherence. So now you can't focus. And now your brain is just going all over the place. And that's simply because of entanglement with emotional toxicity, secondhand toxicity like secondhand smoking. Yes, you get lung cancer too if you inside the car and your mama and your daddy is puffing a cigarette or blowing this cigar. You gonna get it too. If your pets are there, they gonna get it too. All of y'all gonna get it. They gonna hotbox all of y'all asses and everybody's gonna get sick. Not just them. So whose fault is it? It's their fucking fault. It's their fault. Let me tell you, my father used to smoke a pipe. And I remember doing a presentation in school and I actually showed it to him before I took it to school. And literally, it's like probably the next day, he stopped. I don't know if he still smoked. I haven't seen my father in a little bit of time, but he's still doing well. He's still healthy. But when I did leave, he did go back to it briefly, smoking. But I think now he has two other young boys now from a different relationship. And so I think he treats them where he respects them, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that they got the great version of him now. He's got a really, really good mindset of how he's producing things in life. Because before he was giving off emotional toxicity, like secondhand smoke. Because him and my mother, they were fighting a lot. Like I grew up in that household where I got to see anger and rage, or they fight over these and fight over this and fight over this and fight over that, and it's his fault, it's this fault. Why he do this and why she do that? And why, it's like, come on, man, that's enough. You don't want to keep copying that. So what you do is you do your best to do the complete opposite. If this is how you saw it happen in your past or in your upbringing, just do the complete opposite. You don't have to do anything else. Just make sure that you're in alignment. So your solar plexus, your gut, is affected by this negativity, emotional toxicity. Also your heart. And so you don't have any personal power or confidence whenever you start to see anger and hostility expressed towards you. You also don't have any, where your heart is the rhythm. So the speed of how things occur inside your life, that's a really, really big thing, really big, powerful thing. And this disruption affects, again, others in your environment and also to the energy. But I want you to understand that your body is over 70% water, over 70% water. And just like water responds to sound vibrations, your cells respond to the frequency of your emotions too. Your cells have a vibration too. They're just many versions of you. They're miniature versions of you. They vibrate too. They have a frequency, they have a vibration. So if your attitude is love and kindness, and look, I'm not just saying you gotta walk outside and just be faking it the entire time where you're just, I'm so loving. Understand why you should be loving and kind and then do it. Don't just go out there and be like, I'm so happy. No. Understand why you should be happy. Understand why. There's no problem. There's nothing wrong. Everyone is blessed with provision from the universe because you are the universe. So you have not because you ask not. You want the problem to be solved, ask for the problem to be solved. That's all you gotta do. Just be vulnerable enough to be honest. But some people just have this problem with being honest. Like, I can't ask for help. Like, you grew up as a person who, like, it was wrong for you to ask for help. It's wrong for me to go to somebody that cares about me and ask, and I can't get anything, or I can't ask for anything because I'm supposed to have it all figured out. But you're not supposed to have it all figured out. That's why we're all connected. Closed mouths don't get fed. So shit, you hungry, you need some food, you better ask somebody for some food. You better ask somebody. Now, I'm not saying that you don't, but also I'm saying if you know that you have the power, use it. Don't just refuse to use it and then try to go ask, oh, hey, I need help. But you know how to help yourself? Some people don't even know what the laws of the universe are. They don't know what mental laws are. They have no idea. You know, there is a golden rule perspective. It's actually really simple. It's actually very, very simple. And it is treat other people how you want to be treated. You don't want to be angry all the time. You don't want to be angry all the time. Sometimes your emotions can get the best of you, but what you do is you stop yourself, you regulate yourself as quick as possible, and you just figure out that you can change your vibration in an instant. Just let it go. Let it go. So here's where you have a relaxed body and then you have an aligned body. This is where the concept of alkalinity comes in. Alkalign, which is ALKALIGN, alignment. Alkalign on one side, which is the energy, and alignment on the opposite side. You can see my grounding cord here on my wrist right here. I'm plugged into the wall right now. Getting my electrons to flow into my body right now. That's the start of the process of alignment. In case you understand how the root chakra is grounded. I'm grounded right now. But now, if you have unexpressed or uncontrolled anger, that leads to chronic inflammation, digestive issues, there goes the solar plexus again, weakened immunity. That's actually the thymus gland, the T cells that come from the thymus gland. So that's come from the heart chakra. Weakened immunity. Long-term exposure to anger also accelerates cellular aging and disrupts detoxification pathways. So what does that mean? When you have long-term exposure to anger, you accelerate cellular aging. It's like boiling water, because that's essentially what anger is. You're boiling, you're hot. You're boiling the water up, and you're disrupting your detox pathways, which is your lymphatic system and lymphatic system. You got to get rid of it. You got to purify the interstitial fluid and get it out of your system in terms of waste. But the good news through all this, yes, there's good news. So the good news of all this, okay, there is things for you to do. There's modalities for you to use, for you to understand, and for you to get used to, and for you to get acclimated with, and mainly meditation, becoming familiar with yourself. That's what meditation is. It means to become familiar with, why are you angry? Who are you angry at? Or who are you blaming? Because at the end of the day, it's always going to be your fault. Like I told you, I was in relationships where I had partners that hated my guts, expressed all kinds of anger. I'm sleeping next to them the entire time, changing my physiology all the time. And you know what? I chose to stay there. I could have got up and left at any time. So who was I mad at? Not at my partner for expressing their anger. They displaying what they showing me who they are. They're showing me who they are. If I don't like it, I have the right to leave, and I didn't do it. I didn't do it in time where I could have saved myself some heartache. And that's where you got to look at yourself and say, it's my fault. Somehow it's your fault. So if you go into a pool of boiling water, you jump into a pool of boiling water, you burn yourself, you jump into the pool of boiling water. Nobody push you. You just jump, you put your toes in there, you're like, might get better. That's how people think about a relationship. Oh, she's angry today, but it might get better. Oh, he's an asshole today, but it might get better. Really? Like, you ain't got to do that. You ain't got to try to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. How's that sound, the benefit of the doubt? The benefit of the doubt. How's that actually sound? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So they're going to give me the doubt I'm gonna give them the benefit of it anyway. How does that even make sense? Some of the things that people say are just stupid, the benefit of the doubt. There's no benefit from a doubt. If you express doubt towards anybody, you're not trying to benefit them anyway. That's intentional. I'm doubting you. Ain't gonna work. It's like giving you some extra energy to go do something. It's not. So think about that. First off, meditation. You need to be able to calm yourself, calm your mind. There's several. Just be intentional about how you move through the space, how you move your mind through the space. So you want to have something that's guided and guide you towards forgiveness, because that's mainly where the anger comes from, lack of forgiveness. And also, grounding exercises. So start off with this. This is immediate. Go get yourself a grounding cord. Look on Amazon, type in grounding cord. They usually have 9 feet, 15 feet. It's simple, it's like $10. Plug it into a wall. You'll see how the cord works. It's just this copper connection, and the copper connection comes off here, and then you have this tab where under it is a copper plate that connects to my skin. I plug it in, and all of a sudden, I have solar energy. I'm grounded. So that's the first thing in terms of grounding exercise. Then go outside. Go outside. Just go get some sun, some vitamin D. You need it. Don't listen to all these people talking about you can't go outside, you can't go get some rays. If you're too acidic, it's gonna burn you. So if you're too acidic on the inside, that's why the diet is next. Plant-based meals. Eat plant-based meals. Real plant-based meals. I'm not talking about go get some microwavable something, or go get some fake plant-based processed stuff from a restaurant. I'm talking about go to the grocery store, go get some produce, go cook up some nice little veggies. Eat more fruit in the morning, preferably before you eat anything else. There's orders to this. So you always want to make sure that you eat your fruit 30 minutes to an hour before you eat your actual meal. Prepare yourself for digestion. So you eat the fruit first. Don't eat the fruit last, it's not dessert. Fruit is digestion. It helps you to digest things. Fruit is the cleanser. Vegetables are the builders. Just think about it like that. Fruits are the cleansers of your body. Vegetables are the builders of your body. So all you have to do is, whenever you're gonna eat, process things, you wanna set your conveyor belt. It's like when you're going to the grocery store, you have a conveyor belt. You want that conveyor belt to be hydrated. You don't want it to not be hydrated, because if it's not hydrated, when the food hits your stomach and your gut lining, if it's not good food, it's going to cause an inflammatory response and hit the mucous membrane. I'm just telling you guys from experience. I've eaten good ingredients, I've eaten bad ingredients. Bad ingredients keep me sidelined for a week, where all of a sudden I'm congested. My gut lining has been, I'll say, what happens to you is you deactivate it, and then you compromise it. When you compromise it, the mucous membrane is supposed to help you, because it's supposed to clear out. It's supposed to build up things so it doesn't cause too much acid to come up that's not going to eat up your bones. So when you get to that place, you're really in trouble. That's why hydration is key. So again, change your water up. Negative ORP, oxidation reduction potential type water. This is ionized water, alkalized water. So it's not water that you go to the grocery store to go get. It's water that you can go, or no, you go to the grocery store to go get it, but you go to self-serve it. And it's water that does not have a plus on it. It's water that has a negative ORP. Usually it's 219, and the company that I use is freshpure.com. So if you're in LA, I'm sure it's actually all around the country now at freshpure.com. Just go to freshpure.com and check and see location. If it's an hour away, drive it. Go bring some 5-gallon containers, go get them from Walmart, $13, $14 each. Go fill them up, and you can order a little spout automatic from Amazon again, like $20, and you just push it, and it's like a dispenser for your 5-gallon tub. You can just screw it on and just take the water from there. So it's awesome, but you need to get better water. That's gonna help you with grounding, and also plant-based meals. That's gonna help you to calm yourself and become coherent. When you eat acidic food, you start drinking soda, man, you shake up a can of soda and then see what happens. It's gonna explode. It's gonna explode. As soon as you click it up, shoots out everywhere. That's how your stomach, it goes into your stomach. Man, you gotta think about that. That's compromising. So at the Alkalign Lifestyle Institute, what we do for everyone, we guide our clients through detoxification programs that cleanse not just the body, but the mind and the spirit. And this is what heals you from anger and shame and guilt and unforgiveness. And it also allows you to make choices. We give you the power to get up and leave because we empower you. We empower you. So all your deficiencies, we fix that by patching them up at the cellular level. And we also tell you how to use your mind. We also feed you things that you can now use, simple techniques. Writing down on your medicine cabinet mirror, I expect wonderful things to happen to me today. It happened for me today. In all simplicity, it sounds simple, doesn't it? But people don't do it. I say it every day. I expect wonderful things to happen to me and for me today, every single day. I'm expecting tomorrow, expecting the next day. But people just can't even tell themselves wonderful things. And that's why they don't experience wonderful things. So again, we help you to cleanse not just your body, lymphatic system, but your mind, lymphatic system. And what we do, we have VIP, billionaire chakra detox programs, where what we do is we cleanse you from the root all the way to the crown. The root begins at your ankles and then your knees and goes all the way to your pituitary. We help you to cleanse yourself so that you can get billionaire ideas. See, billionaires are different than millionaires. Think about if somebody said, how long is a million seconds? A million seconds, right? That would be what? Or a million minutes, I think. A million minutes is 11 days. A billion minutes, I believe it's like 31 years. Some crazy stat like that. There's a difference in millionaire ideas and billionaire ideas. You're changing the landscape of who you want to help. So you have to be prepared for that. So what we do is we go in, we realign your chakras, we release your emotional blocks, and we build you from the ground up, and we replenish you. Spiritually, we replenish you. Because everything is minerals. Your whole life is an alchemical process. So once you get this formula correct, well, then you're correct. Next up, we do also have a simple awaken 90-day cellular detox program. And this is what clears the toxic effects of chronic stress and emotional traumas that you stored inside your body. This is this simple awakening where you just go in, you open up the gut, you restart the process of your heart being open, you cleanse the lymphatic system. 30 days is all you need to get started. You go times 2, 60 days, you go where you have awaken first, which is 17 alkalizing herbs that are going to cleanse the system, lymphatic system and lymphatic system. But then replenish is overnight. It also adds valerian root. It gets you to calm yourself down and get you some good sleep. And then total cell salts. And what these two things do simultaneously, you're gonna take one during the day, one at nighttime. The first 30 days is gonna be where you awaken your systems, turn them back on. The second 30 days is where you're going to be teaching your system how to function. This is where it starts to function. And then the last 30 days is where you're going to be executing the functioning, meaning this is going to stay with you forever. This whole process of reclaiming your digestion, moving things through your body, creating a system of flow, this will stay with you forever. Now, if you want a higher experience in terms of DMT production, things that get you to see a different side of yourself, you'll go to the billionaire detox program. If you want to be a person that has high impact, or you're already a high impactful person, and you want to be able to cleanse your system and still be able to function and change the DNA, that's a different level. But the system, if you just really want to focus on, I need to improve my gut health, I need to improve my cardiovascular, I need to improve my heart health, I need to plan for how to exercise, I need to plan for how to eat, I need to be able to be taught how to eat plant-based in the right way, grow muscle, do things that make me feel good. That's the Awakened Cellular Detox Program. That's the difference. So 90 days, and then the Billionaire Detox Program is up to 9 months. So both of those programs are for a person who needs cleansing at the cellular level. And then the last two things that we have is an acid to alkalign challenge. We just offer it every month, where we teach for 5 days in a hybrid virtual sitting room, and you'll get a Zoom link, and you just get to come in and we teach you just like I'm teaching you right now about simple things. We use simple science, a lot of research that we've done, and we just give you simple articles, simple exercises that you can do. Anyone can do it. All it takes is commitment. All it takes is a decision. It's not even rocket science or any of this stuff. This is just basic, holistic, how nature works, and we give it to you. And then we have, for our VIPs, high performance people that want to get away from everything, bad entanglements that we've talked about, we have our one-on-one retreats. And what these retreats are is it's singles and couples. And this is for people who want to heal themselves and heal a relationship. Only 10 people can attend at a time. We only do it 4 times a year. And I think our next one will be in Ojai, Barcelona, Arizona, coming up after summertime. So if you're interested in having a getaway retreat where you're going to be trained for your mind, your body, how to eat, but you're doing it hands-on with us, we're going to come to teach you. So we have multiple things for you guys to look at in terms of how to heal your mind from yourself, in terms of how to heal people around you as well. But it all starts, again, I'm going to go back to this, it all starts with cellular detoxification. You must cleanse your body at the cellular level. So you're clearing the toxic effects of chronic stress, and also what you're doing is you're learning how to ground in every way possible. You're learning breath work exercises, but mainly learning how to exercise. That's the main thing, because that's what is really gonna help you in terms of breathing, not just breathing exercises. Get up and actually move your body. That's what we're gonna show you how to do. I'm talking about intensity, but not 45 minutes of killing yourself, and then, no, you wanna do things that are enjoyable so that you can move yourself and really build the muscle that you need to build so that you can have longevity in life. And you'll have a lot of meditation and forgiveness type rituals. You know, we've gone through the process of just feeling better, you know, just making ourselves feel good every single day on purpose. You know, so if today's insights and teaching resonated with you in any way, shape, or form, realize this, your cells are listening. Your cells are always listening to you. They're always asking you, what do you want? What do we want? What do you want us to do for you? And ask yourself, what message do you really want to send to them today? That's going to create your life. Don't forget to like, again, share and subscribe for more transformational insights. And until next time, see you guys. Peace.